After months of working in this space, I've learned that a good workspace reflects your personality and is streamlined for the work that you do. Hi, I'm Corinne, and in this video, I'll take you through a tour of my workspace and the updates I've made. This is what my current workspace looks like. This is a very live, very raw view of it. We all know a clean and organized space is more enticing to work in, and because my desk turns into this every day, I realize I have to look for better solutions. I recognize three main issues. First thing that sticks out to me is the busy granite countertop. This is the granite we have throughout the apartment, but I think it's simply just too busy on the eye for a workspace. Second thing to tackle was the organization. I need something to store my everyday items and keep the space clear. Lastly, the space was in need for an overall style upgrade to align with the rest of the space. If you haven't seen it yet, you can check out my apartment tour video to get a better vibe of how I've styled my home. I've purchased new items to help me do my work. I realized although my business was growing, the space wasn't growing with me, so I had to take advantage of what I have. I removed some decor and looked for options that would increase my storage space and serve to be more functional. First off, I had to prep the space for transformation. I removed everything off my desk to a temporary spot. I then wiped down the walls and desktop for dust and swept and vacuumed the floor underneath. For my desk, I bought this dark vinyl wrap from Amazon. I looked for something that was low maintenance, an easy and safe solution to cover up the granite top, and a color that would contrast the space well. To spruce up this corner and make it look more intentional, I purchased these white stick-on tiles to carry through what's going on in the kitchen. This tile was very user-friendly. I just peeled the paper off the backside and used the grout lines to align with the previous section. To be sure they were sticking well, I went over it and smoothed it out with a microfiber towel. I then put that same towel over the edge of a ruler to score the sheet of tile and tuck it into the smaller crevices. To remove the excess tile, I simply cut off the edges with a box cutter. Luckily, this cut through like butter. And then again, to ensure every part was stuck well to the wall, I evened it out with the microfiber. Overall, this tile was a success and mirrored the kitchen tile wonderfully. Above me, in the cabinet space, I reorganized all of my miscellaneous desk and work items that I only use on occasion. I like the fact that all of this is hidden behind doors and tucks away any visible clutter. And for the items that I do reach for daily, I put up this black pegboard I found at the Container Store. I sourced some black organizers intended to store my pens, project notes, my planner, and cables. At the heart of my setup is my beloved iMac computer. I removed the sticky notes from here as I realized this wasn't contributing to the minimal setup I was going for. I also have the 17-inch MacBook Pro that I use when I'm working and traveling, so in order to store this, I purchased a vertical stand to save space on my desk as well. I used the Apple wireless Bluetooth keyboard and mouse. There was no need to change these up since they are perfectly aesthetic and keep my desktop looking clean. The next thing I needed to upgrade in my setup was decent lighting. I installed this gold frosted light I found at IKEA to mount on the side wall to reduce my eye strain for when I work. Adding lighting was very essential to me to balance the light coming from my computer and brighten my space overall since the windows are behind me and not in view. One thing I was missing from my setup was a comfortable place to sit. I used to just pull over one of the chairs from my dining set, but quickly learned these chairs were not meant for sitting on for hours at a time. I went to my local Home Goods and found this chair for a great price. It had way more cushion and I loved the gold detail and thought it would upgrade the space. Below me, I have my printer set up. I had this resting on a small computer shelf before and I found myself accidentally kicking it when I would sit at my desk. So I wanted to elevate the entire setup and create a more stable setup. I use this pretty often, so I needed it to be handy and not stored away, in addition to the fact that it doesn't fit in the above cabinet, regardless.